Hi, it's me. It's weird, I know. This channel about dumb shorts and shitty videos decided to make an essay video. So listen, the real reason I'm making this video is because I hate all of the Silent Hill videos about explaining Silent Hill, where they say, Silent Hill 2, explain! No, it's not. Every video about this game is someone who played it once, they went to the wiki for Silent Hill, the trivia section, and they're like, did you know if you turn off your light, you can look at the map? Holy shit! Silent Hill 2 explain! Swear to God, every one of those videos treats you like an idiot who never played Silent Hill 2 before. You think people who didn't play Silent Hill 2 or know nothing about it are gonna watch your video? Really? You're treating people like idiots in your video by going to the wiki and copy pasting stuff from it. If you're gonna do that, then just make a video called Silent Hill 2 Explained, and the entire video is just a picture of the wiki page link. I watched so many of these videos while I'm making this video, and I'm like, did these people really play Silent Hill 2? Or did they read the wiki and they're like, yeah, I can explain this game. How can you explain a game that doesn't have an explanation for everything? Have you ever thought of that? Silent Hill 2 isn't about explaining what happens. It's about what you think is happening. It's like the video called The Sopranos Explained. Have you watched The Sopranos? The guy who made that show makes fun of people who do that. The Sopranos will troll you if you try to explain everything in it. Silent Hill 2 isn't a game you need to explain. It's a game where you talk about how you viewed what happened in the game, and you share your views with other people's views, and other people will share their views with you about what happened in the game. That's why there are these multiple endings with a specific way to get them. That's because they didn't want your experience to be the same as someone else's. Like, you can explain things in this game, but a lot of stuff doesn't have an explanation. Even the wiki struggles with explaining some of the stuff. And don't let me start with the wiki. Did you know that Guy Chi, he tweeted that the corona's fake? What does that have to do with Silent Hill? Even the wiki sucks. Anyway, I got this out of my chest. Let me tell you what I think of Silent Hill. What I thought of every character and monster and how they appeared to me. I'm gonna make the ultimate Silent Hill video. You just watch. First thing first, if you don't play this game, you can't understand anything in this video. I recommend the greatest hit version of PlayStation 2, but if you don't have a PlayStation 2 and its controllers and the memory card and all the other shit, you're probably gonna need like $500 to buy everything. So just emulate the game on the PlayStation 2 emulator or download the enhanced edition on the PC. So let's start the video. Trivia! Do you know the voice acting was done like this on purpose? I'm just fucking with you.
I'm looking for my mama. I mean my mother.
The body of a man later identified as Thomas Orozco, lumberjack, age 39, was discovered in the middle of his room laying face up. The probable cause of death was multiple stab wounds to the front of the neck and the left side of the torso by a sharp-edged weapon. The estimated time of death was somewhere between 11 p.m. and 12:30 midnight. Due to signs of struggle in the room and the lack of a murder weapon, police are considering this a homicide and have opened a murder investigation. Furthermore, given the fact that the cash in the room was untouched and Mr. Orozco had a history of drunkenness and violence, the police suspect that the motive was not robbery, but some sort of crime of passion.
This memo is what Angela's motive and character are. The first time you meet Angela, you misunderstand her. Angela is a teenager who has been aged beyond her years. The game gives us multiple hints of that. Angela has had a rough life. She was sexually and physically abused by her father and brother, and we get a glimpse of that in the form of this. Angela's mother wasn't any help. She left her alone to deal with her father. Even with that, Angela doesn't seem to hate her mother. Because of her life, she had to go through things no one in this life deserves to go through. She had to commit things no one in this life should do.
People who went through the same thing as Angela seem to suffer from androphobia, which is fear of men, or misandry, which is dislike of men.
I know what you're up to. It's always the same. You're only after one thing. You don't have to lie. Go ahead and say it.
And also CPTSD, also known as complex trauma disorder. Those who suffer from CPTSD will experience emotional dysregulation, negative self-beliefs, feelings of shame, guilt, or failure regarding the trauma and interpersonal difficulties.
Angela feels like she's failed. Feels like what she did to her father was wrong. Angela's suffering. Angela feels guilty.
It's easier just to run. Besides, it's what we deserve.
Angela sees silent hell and flame. I looked up what it means to see flames in your dream, and I found something interesting about it. Flames represent strong feelings, passion, your love.
Will you love me?
Flames can also be a symbol of cleansing, coming to terms with old hurts. Sometimes fire in a dream might also be meant as a warning that you're headed into danger and need to be wary. James couldn't stop her. James couldn't help her as she slowly heads for her death. Angela is one of the most human characters I have seen in any video game ever. Never thought I would see a subject about sexual assault in a video game and handled this well. Silent Hill 2 tested Angela, and Angela chose to kill her father, brother, and kill herself. I think someone like Angela can start their life again. No matter how bad your life is, I think suicide should never be an option. As someone who suffers from suicidal thoughts, I think life has its ups and downs, and the ups are worth living for. So please, I know it hurts, but please never ever take that route. And if you suffer from sexual abuse at home or anywhere, ask for help. People will help you. You are not alone. Call any of these numbers and ask for help, please.
How can you sit there and eat pizza?
When I was 9 years old, I used to get bullied in school. The bullying kept going from getting beaten up to being made fun of for the way I look. And because my mom is a foreigner too, and because of that, I started having these ideas of, what if I just killed the people who wronged me? That would make my life a lot better. Bullying can sometimes pull something from the inside of people. Something that would show the true ugliness of humans. This thing might make you shoot someone in the knee and shoot their dog. This thing might, I don't know, make you take your weapon of choice and show it to your classmates.
There are multiple things that people like Eddie suffer from. But what Eddie seems to have is some of the symptoms of body dysmorphic disorder, occasionally still called dysmorphophobia, which is a mental disorder characterized by the obsessive idea that some aspect of one's own body part or appearance is severely flawed, and therefore warrants exceptional measures to hide and fix it. They could also suffer from excessive eating disorder, which is a mental disorder defined by abnormal eating behaviors that negatively affect a person's physical or mental health.
When I was 13 years old, my sisters and big brother used to bully me. They would always make fun of me because of how short I am, and that caused me to, whenever one of my friends or anyone would ask me about my height, my anxiety would shoot up, even though I know he meant nothing by it. Because of how much I was bullied for my height, I would try for years to fix it by drinking milk every day or sticking a pipe on top of my door and hanging on it. Like that would help. But whatever I did, I couldn't get taller. And the older I got, the worse it became. I thought no one would understand me, and I kept it inside me for years. But what I didn't realize is that I already found people who would understand me. My friends. I've been friends with them for years, but I didn't think they would understand me. I was so scared of opening up. But after a long time of keeping it inside me, I decided to do it. I was so scared of leaving myself vulnerable to other people. But when I told them, they said, it doesn't matter how tall you are. This is the thing I wanted to hear for a really long time. I can't tell you how I felt on that day. It meant a lot to me because I realized there is more to me than how tall I am. There's more to you than the way you look. There is more to you as a human. To realize that you need to surround yourself with great people who actually like you the way you are, who don't mind your flaws and like your positives. I know that everyone can't be as lucky as me and find the right people. But to find the right people, you need to leave yourself vulnerable. And that's the hardest part about it. And that leads us to Eddie. Death is the ultimate equalizer. It doesn't matter if you're smart, dumb, ugly, pretty, it's all the same once you admit. Eddie is someone who got bullied because of the way he looks his entire life. And because of that, he snapped, causing him to shoot someone's knee, killing a dog, and then he ran away. And that's when Silent Hill called him and gives him everything he wanted. The power to kill everyone who wronged him. And because of that, Eddie ends up alone in a cold slaughterhouse, surrounded by dead bodies of the people who wronged him. Throughout this game, Eddie chose not to open up.
Something just brought you here, right?
Yeah, you could say that.
Eddie chose to take revenge on the people who wronged him.
From now on, if anyone makes fun of me, I'll kill him. Just like that.
Eddie chose to be alone.
Anyway, I gotta run.
You're going out there alone?
Yeah.
You shouldn't kill anyone. You would think killing people who did you wrong would make you feel better, but it wouldn't. It would just drag you to a bad place in life. And that's what happened to Eddie. If you're suffering from bullying, depression, BBD, anything, look for help. Again, you're not alone. There's people out there who will help you. There are people out there who will see you for what you really are. Call these numbers and ask for help.
Eddie? I killed a human being.
I turned 8 last week.
My dearest Laura, I'm leaving this letter with Rachel to give to you after I'm gone. I'm far away now, in a quiet, beautiful place. Please, forgive me for not saying goodbye before I left. Be well, Laura. Don't be too hard on the sisters. And Laura, about James, I know you hate him because you think he isn't nice to me. But please, give him a chance. It's true he may be a little surly sometimes, and he doesn't laugh much, but underneath, he's really a sweet person. Laura, I love you like my very own daughter. If things had worked out differently, I was hoping to adopt you. Happy 8th birthday, Laura. Your friend forever, Mary.
Laura is an orphan who was admitted to the same hospital as Mary. And just how Mary loved her like a daughter, she loved Mary like a mother. They talked a lot about Silent Hill and how beautiful it is. Unlike everyone in this game, Laura doesn't have a dark side to her. So why is she in Silent Hill? Because Mary told her. So if Laura doesn't have a dark side, how does she see Silent Hill? What does Laura bring to the story? What does Laura represent in the game? Laura represents the truth. Laura doesn't hide anything. Laura is pure in a way. In the beginning you feel like Laura hates James, but you realize she's just mad at James because he wasn't nice to Mary. And that's just how pure this kid is. So, what does Laura see in Silent Hill? It's unclear to what Silent Hill looks like to her, but the game gives us few hints on what it might look like. So does she see monsters? No, the game tells us that in multiple cutscenes.
I can't believe you haven't even gotten a scratch on you.
Why should I?
Does she see broken roads? Nope, the game tells us that when Laura walks to the hotel on her own, and the road to the hotel is Nathan Avenue, which is destroyed in James' Silent Hill. Does she see humans? I'm pretty sure that Laura doesn't see humans. If Laura saw humans, none of the things she's doing in the game makes sense. She would have taken the bus to the hotel. She wouldn't have walked to it. So it's always felt to me that Laura saw Silent Hill empty. But there's this one thing in one of the cutscenes where we see Laura with like 10 teddy bears and another one with the drawing of a cat. So her Silent Hill might be what Mary told her. Quiet in a beautiful place with no adults, with all the freedom you want. A beautiful place with rainbows, stuffed animals, and animal drawings on the wall. I know about you, but it's the quiet and beautiful place I wanted as a 7-year-old. In a game full of lies and guilty and broken people, Laura doesn't hide anything. Laura brings the truth to Silent Hill. Everything Laura does and says to James is the truth. Laura represents how a good and pure person would see Silent Hill. This game shows us the awful side of humans and shows us that there is still some good in people. Laura is the best child character I have seen in anything because of how well done she is. I love everything about her and what she brings to this game. The monsters in Silent Hill are thoughts and emotions. In Silent Hill 1, it's Alyssa's repressed thoughts and her fears. In Silent Hill 2, the monsters are James' repressed memories and sexual anxiety. The monsters in Silent Hill 2 are genius. Masahiro Ito might be my favorite monster designer of all time. While in Silent Hill 1, the monsters are Alyssa's fear, and it's really cool how well done that is. But in Silent Hill 2, Masahiro Ito decided to go even further with this idea. And that's what we're gonna talk about. I'm gonna dissect these monsters and tell you what my viewpoints of them and what they meant to me. The lying figure. It's a faceless monster, has a female lower body, it spits acid, and is wearing a straight jacket. And it looks like it's in agony. The straight jacket and the monster being in agony means multiple things. James's internal suffering of being sexually frustrated with not being able to touch his wife or anyone. Also, might represent a sick person who is sick in health and in mind. A person who is terminally ill, who because of her illness, her mental health became worse. She started hating herself and having mood swings. And like spitting acid, she would shout at the people closest to her, saying hurtful words to them. And the female and faceless part is because James is only interested in having his sexual desire fulfilled and not having an actual relationship. That's why the monster is faceless, because James only cares about the body and nothing else. The Mannequin. This monster doesn't have a lot to it, but every time I look at it, it makes me feel cold, man. This monster is just a pair of legs. It's like James stopped thinking about anything else. He is just tired and going insane. He doesn't want a personality. He doesn't want an upper body. He doesn't even want the feeling of warmth with a loved one. He doesn't want anything else other than it. Nothing about it is even alive. It's simply a mannequin legs, not even the full body. And that idea just hits me hard, man. There's a cool detail to the mannequin. First time you meet the mannequin is after you take the light that represents Mary off her clothes. So as soon as Mary stops looking at you, James' sexual desire starts attacking him. That's really cool. I like this detail a lot. The nurses are a great enemy. I would love to explain them, but I'm gonna leave the explanation to my Silent Hill mentor, Bad Starzak.
They have bobbleheads. Their heads just like look like pure, smooth, no face. He's going to visit his terminally ill wife and sees nothing but these faceless, uncaring medical people.
Ah, that's good. That's good.
That are hot. His wife's ill. He can't have sex with his wife anymore. He might be cheating on her. He doesn't know. And he's like, oh, gross. I want to have sex, but my wife is dying. I'm such a piece of shit. And nurses are hot. The nurses' faces originally were going to look like condoms. Their heads were supposed to explode like a condom bursting.
I just love this explanation, and I agree with him. I think this is the perfect explanation, and I love it. Hey Bat, thanks for everything, buddy. The Mandarin. Like Masahiro Ito-san said, this monster is underrated. I love the idea of the Mandarin. The Mandarin is a thought of death. The Mandarin is hanging, waiting for death to come, waiting for that moment to let go. That's how it feels to be terminally ill. It's like hanging on an edge, waiting for your body to give up, waiting to die. And no matter what you say or what you do, no one can help you. The Flesh Lip. This monster is a mass of meat with a hand coming out of its head. And it's in a cage with useless legs. In between the legs you can see the lips. The placement of the lips between the legs might represent a vagina. And Ito said the lips in Silent Hill 2 are a reflection of Mary's mouth which abused James. And that's why I think you meet this monster as a boss in a hospital and you never see it again. The body looks like the body of a sick person and the cage seems like it's holding it together from falling apart. The monster's attached something on the ceiling of the hospital which limits its movement, so it might represent Mary in her hospital bed and how her being confined to her hospital bed kept her alive but also limited her freedom. I know there was a lot of might in this one, but this is how this game works. You won't get all the answers, It's left for your imagination. The abstract daddy. This one. It's something. The first time I met this monster in this room, I felt disgusted, even though I didn't know what it meant. Compared to every other monster in this game, this monster was designed differently. So the first time I saw him, I thought, oh, this monster is for Angela, and not James, because she calls him daddy, and it's called the abstract daddy. So this monster is supposed to represent the abuse Angela had to go through. And you can see that. The frame represents the bed, and there is a figure, and another figure on top of it, and the figure underneath looks like it's in pain. Even though I didn't know what it meant the first time I went through this game, but I could feel this feeling deep in my stomach. I was disgusted. And this is why this monster was designed so well. It's absolutely horrible what this monster is. And the room, oh my god, the metal thing going in and out of these holes in this room made out of flesh, just too much. I hate this part of the game because every time I went through it, I had the same feeling. I didn't like it, but there is more to this monster. So, this monster isn't for Angela, it's for James, but it kinda gives you a little bit of Angela, so it's both of them. So let me explain. This monster is actually a bed, and there's a figure, and on top of it is another figure smothering it. So you know what that means, if you played the game, obviously. But it's designed in a way to show you a little bit of what Angela sees. So that means what Angela sees is a lot worse than this. And I love it because you can't imagine what she's going through. And that is how it feels to talk with or hear about what a sexual abuse victim went through. Remember when, sometimes you meet a character in Silent Hill and you can see a little bit of what they see? The fire, the teddy bear, the cold slaughterhouse. When you see what they see, you just see a little bit of what it is. So the staircase is supposed to be a lot different from what Angela saw. So you can't imagine what everyone is going through in this game. And this is not from me, it's from Ito-san himself. If this doesn't tell you the amount of care that was put into this game and why this game is genius, then I don't know what to tell you. Here comes the best monster ever made. And this is coming from a person who loves the Resident Evil games. The Resident Evil games are my favorite series, and Resident Evil 4 is my favorite game. But Pyramid Head is uncomparable when it comes to monsters. Pyramid Head has two weapons: the Great Knife, which represents a heavy burden, and the Great Spear, which doesn't represent a heavy burden and could mean relief. It is used by the executioner of the prison on the sinners. This is about to get a little bit emotional. PH is guilt incarnation. I remember this one moment in my life where I said something horrible to my mom. My mom raised 5 kids alone, without a father. The oldest of us was like 6 years old when my father died, and she was still pregnant with me. She had to give birth to me 3 days after my father died. Imagine the amount of pain she had to go through. This woman is my everything. She's the most important person in my life, and I, just as a 14-year-old, yelled at her. I remember looking at her face as those words left my mouth and seeing her tear up. Not a single day goes by without me thinking about this moment. I can't tell you what would I do to fix it. And that's the feeling of guilt. And that's why Pyramid Head is genius. Pyramid Head is James's guilt. When you feel guilt, you want to be punished for what you did. You want someone to punish you for your sin. You want an executioner. PH isn't here to kill James. He's here to punish him for his sins. PH isn't the bad guy of the story. And you don't know that until you know the truth about James.
That's why I needed you. Needed someone to punish me for my sins. But that's all over now. I know the truth. Now it's time to end this.
I left James for the end because to explain every character in Silent Hill, you need to explain James. But to explain James, you need to explain every other character. James might be the deepest character ever made in video games. His character is so complicated and human. And nothing is more complicated than humans. The first time I saw James, I thought the character was gonna be, you know, like Leon from Resident Evil 2. And oh boy, did my way of thinking take me for a trip. The first look at James when you know nothing of Silent Hill will make you think, you know, he's your normal, everyday survivor horror character. But he is so far away from being a survivor horror character. He doesn't even feel like a video game character. Let's compare James to a video game character. How about that? And what's more video gamey than Dante from Devil May Cry? Dante is the son of a great demon. Dante is invisible. Dante is unkillable. Dante can go through 100 demons without a single scratch. Dante is so strong, has to make fun of every monster he fights before fighting them, even though his shit talk is the worst. But Dante being a video game character isn't bad. That's what makes him Dante. And he's one of my favorite video game characters ever. I love Dante. That's what video games are. They're here to take you to another world where you can be whoever you want, whenever you want. Just put the game in and you become the character you want. And that is not what James is. James is a normal human who, unlike Dante, isn't fun to be or play him. Doesn't even know how to fight, can go through 100 demons unscathed. He's literally dying from the inside by guilt and depression and suicidal and hurtful thoughts. He's sexually frustrated that his wife is sick and he can't have sex with her. Does James sound like someone you want to play or be? James isn't a video game character, and that's what makes him James. And that's what makes Silent Hill 2 so different from other games. James came to this town looking for his dead wife, Mary. Throughout your journey with James, you see this nice guy who cares about everyone around him, who tries to help Angela, who tries to help Eddie, who goes out of his way to help people in a town full of monsters. So James is a nice guy who helps people and cares for their well-being, and he doesn't feel like a bad guy. Silent Hill is for the guilty. And you see that when every character tells you,
You didn't love Mary anyway.
You didn't want her around anymore.
This town called you too!
every character in this game tells James he's guilty, tells James he deserves this. James might not be a good guy. James might not have left Mary. James. Killed Mary. But there's this one character, this weird character, who tries to distract you.
I don't like being alone.
The first time you meet Maria, James calls her Mary. Her face and voice is like Mary. Even her name is Maria. But other than that, she is different than Mary. Unlike Mary, she has a tattoo, she works in a strip joint, and she's sexually active. Maria is everything James wanted from Mary. Sexually active person who isn't sick, who can fulfill his desires and not yell at him. But Silent Hill is here to punish James for what he did. So in the hospital, Maria slowly becomes Mary. She starts caring for Laura.
What about Laura? Did you find her? We've got to find her.
She becomes sick.
I'm kind of tired. It's just a hangover.
She lashes out at James.
Anyway! What do you mean, anyway? You don't sound very happy to see me.
And then she killed by Pyramid Head with a skewer. James feels guilty for Maria's death, but also feels relief that he doesn't have to take care of another sick person. But then Maria appears again, and dies again, and appears again and dies again, and this cruel cycle that makes James even more guilt-ridden. And that's when you realize Maria is not real. Maria is a manifestation, a test from Silent Hill to James. Silent Hill gives James the woman he wants, Maria, and she's basically, what if you put all of James's sexual desires into a needle and injected that into Mary? So she's here to test James, and depending on the ending, either you succeed or fail. James is guilty. James is ashamed. James feels shame for not being able to control his sexual desire while his wife is sick. James feels shame and guilt that he is mad at his wife for being sick. James tries to help everyone because of his guilt. James is looking for Mary because of his guilt. But in the end, James couldn't help anyone. Everyone James tried to help either killed themselves, tried to kill him, or hates him. And that makes him even more guilt-ridden. Guilt isn't a bad emotion. Guilt is what makes us human. But guilt is also a heavy burden to carry. And that burden leads to killing his other emotions. That's why James seems bland. James's emotions are hurting him. James's guilt is killing his sexual desire. James's shame feels his guilt even more. James's guilt is killing him. James is killing himself. But what's most important, James is human. Guilt is what makes us human. Yes, it can hurt you. Yes, it can be unbearable. But without it, what are we? And that's why feeling guilt isn't a bad thing. That means you're alive. That means you're human. That means you're a good person. Feeling guilt shouldn't drive you to suicide. Feeling guilt should drive you to be a better person. Feeling guilt should make you happy.
Hey! Since you reached the end of this video, I think you enjoyed it. I hope you did. But yeah, thank you for enjoying the video. I want to thank a few people for helping me make this video. I want to thank Stefano. He's a great dude. He's the one who made the thumbnail for this video. He's a fantastic artist, and I fell in love with his work as soon as I saw it. His link is in the description. Please, if you liked his work, please go and check him out. He's a fantastic artist, and I hope he gets more work. And I want to thank the editor of this video, Frank Longbones or Mysterious Jojo. His link is in the description. Please go ask him for more work. He's an excellent editor, and I wouldn't have trusted him with this important video if he wasn't a great editor. And I hope he gets more work, and please go check him out. Give him more work, like give him 100 jobs, fucking overwhelm him. And I want to thank Wooly versus Bad Stairs At and Matt McMuscles. These guys were super best friends, and they were the reason why I fell in love with Silent Hill 2. If you want the perfect playthrough and the great explanation for everything in Silent Hill, like to get you into Silent Hill, go watch their playthrough of Silent Hill. It's in the description. And if you don't want to watch like 20 episodes thing, go and watch the compilation, which is in the description too. It's a fantastic compilation. It's 3 hours long, and you can like see what everything means in 3 hours, you know? That's if you love Silent Hill enough to want to check a 3 hours video for it, I guess. But yeah, I want to thank them so much. They're great. Thank you for helping me through hard times. Super Best Friends was like one of my favorite channels ever, and they're still making great videos with the 3 channels, so please go check them out if you have any interest in them. I want to thank Team Silent for making this insane game that will never see again anything like it, because no one dares to go where Silent Hill 2 went, right? Well, I suck at thanking people and shit, you know, but hey, thank you for watching this video, and please like and subscribe. I never said that in one of my videos. Weird. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a
good day.